Hello everybody, I'm here at the Arizona Cup. Well, not exactly here, but I'm in Arizona here. Arizona Cup is actually pretty much just over that hill for me. But it's a great venue. It's shot at the Ben Avery shooting facility. This video is taking place in 2016. Just for people that may be watching it, maybe all the way into 2020 or further. These are the strategies I currently utilize, and I'm just kind of putting it out there so that you can develop your own, so that you can have a successful Arizona Cup. So first off, and kind of the most important for me, is allergies. So my allergies aren't the greatest, and it was something that I didn't think of the first time I went to the Arizona Cup about 5 years ago. So being in New Jersey, April, especially the beginning of April, is generally not the warmest, but probably in like the mid-50s or so on average, but the pollen isn't out yet. Well, in Arizona, spring's already in full session here, and it's just, they're pumping out the pollen. Some local people have said it's like we're kind of on the end of it, but it definitely gets your allergies going. So when you're going to Arizona Cup, make sure to bring some kind of allergy medication or whatever you take to help you get through, because the last thing you want is be having an allergy attack while trying to shoot on the line. That is not going to be productive. Next, we're going to be talking about something very interesting. The dust factor is one thing, but on the field at Arizona Cup, I guess there's a tree that has a very unique kind of seed pod that sticks to the bottom of your shoes, which isn't too bad. It's a little bit annoying when you're walking around, but it's definitely something that's bearable. But the surprise factor is that when you come home, if you don't take your shoes off right away and you start walking through your hotel or a house you rented or something like that, these little puppies get all over the place, and they're sharp. They got a big needle on it. Well, it is something you do not want to step on barefoot, because it's definitely a slightly lethal weapon, and it would be pretty terrible to injure yourself with this little seed pod here when you're trying to shoot an archery tournament. So it's a very important thing to keep in mind. They come out of your shoes pretty easily, but they are annoying. Next, I want to hit on the climate in Arizona. Now, this is something you should always keep an eye on, even if the tournament's a month out. Just keep a little visual on the Weather Channel or whatever on how the weather's progressing in pretty much any shoot you go to, but especially in Arizona, because most shooters are coming from areas that aren't this warm. So some of the conditions you run into are wind. Arizona's known for the wind at the shoots. Also, the heat. At unofficial practice yesterday, it was into the 90s. So 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit is a killer, especially since you get a really strong, baking sun. It's not a humid heat like in the tropics. The humidity's way down, but you're roasted. It's a convection oven. But it isn't like that all the time. Right now, I'm doing this video, it's really nice out here. Of course, we have overcast skies, and the sun is out, but it's not really beating down on us. Also, a really good point is remember sunscreen. Of course, you should be able to pick up some in the local area. If there's a particular brand you like to use, make sure you pack it, because the last thing you want is sunburn. And you got to shoot a lot of arrows, especially in your neck and shoulder region, because that can be really painful when you're trying to move into your shot. So Arizona Cup is a really big tournament for the U.S. Not only is it a USAT event, but it's also an international event, and a lot of countries from around the globe come up, mostly from South America, just because the flight up is really easy, but you'll get other ones that'll come from like Mongolia, France I've seen here. Canada comes down from the north to see us. That's always fantastic. But people from all over, and that's really neat, but it also heightens the competition a little bit. But of course, they do get taken out when they do the national rankings for the U.S., so it's not like you have to worry about them taking your spot, because they're not U.S. citizens and they're on their own team, but it's a unique experience, and it allows you to really see some of the international competition out there. Next up, I want to talk about food and places to shop. So, conveniently, since Arizona Cup is so big, this year I think we're over 500 shooters. There's a lot of opportunities to see some vendors. So this year, just to name a few, Lancaster's a big one because they bring in items for you to buy that could be really helpful. Like, oh no, I ran out of Knox. Lancaster probably has Knox. I happened to pick up an extra arrow puller because I'm wearing my current one out. So I picked up an extra arrow puller. Just little stuff like that. It's really helpful. You're saving on shipping because you're already there. You flew there or drove if you're lucky enough to drive. Also, there's there's other vendors. AAE is a big sponsor of this event, so you can go check out their products. And there's a couple other companies that show up, which is pretty neat. Now, on the food side of it, there's usually food trucks, at least one, sometimes more. And that way you don't have to worry about packing lunch if you're into trying out more, I guess, local cuisine kind of. But they're there. They sell good food. I personally bring my own food just because that's what I've always done, and I just like to keep things very consistent. Now, outside the shoot, you get a whole variety of possibilities. I've seen there's a Walmart, there's an Albertsons, there's tons of places to dine. It seems like this area of Phoenix is pretty well developed. Of course, Google or whatever your choice of search engine is going to be your best friend in finding what you want and what you need. So always utilize that option.